Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. It could be early morning too. I see at least one person out there. I know is signing in from California. It's 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. Hey, Daniel. And so truthfulness. What in the world else do we have to say about truthfulness? That's the parami of the month. Yeah. I was thinking, oh. I think you're talking about something this morning with regard to truthfulness, and my first thought was, no, I don't want to talk about this. And then I thought, well, you could always say that, and then say why you don't want to talk about it, and why none of us really want to think about it too much. It's one of these deeper levels of truth, and it's really not a lot of fun, and it's something. But on the other hand, these truths are important. They're very important in Buddhism. The Buddha said we should reflect on them every day. Not and not with a negative twist, but just because it's part of the reality that we're born into. And it's I call them the existential unavoidables. There's another. The 4 or 5 things that old age
heavenly messengers.
Well, they're heavenly messengers. I call them the existential unavoidables. It's the things that the Buddha also, even when he's talking about his teaching in dukkha, is that the things that we can do something about. Yeah. And that's where most of his teaching was around. What are the things that we can shape shift a little bit to make our lives more harmonious in this world? And what are the things that can't do so much about, but we should reflect also on some of those things that we can't do so much about, because there's a natural tendency to turn away from them so much. And our culture, is certainly turns away from these things as well as problematic and things that we should not make too foreground. And they are sickness. The Buddhists, it's right. It's one of those lists that we just don't want to read. I never wanted to read them. I go, yeah. I know. I kind of know. But like that, I kind of know. Let's put that up on the shelf. Like, let's put sickness up on a shelf somewhere. Let's put old age. Yeah. Yeah. I know everybody dies. I know. Yeah. But I don't want to think about that today. I definitely don't want to think about it every day. There was that Zen master who came back from a long retreat, and the students gathered around, and they said, we want to know your deepest insight. Your deepest insight. There was a long pause, and the students gathered around, that kind of that moment. Yeah. What's your deepest insight, teacher? He said, well, yeah, here's my deepest insight. All of us, we're all going to die, but none of us live on a day-to-day basis as if that were true. An obvious truth, but not one that we want to integrate particularly, even though we see people, it's happening to others, but not to me. I take vitamins. I take the best vitamins, I'm going to, look, these are hard things to turn toward. And there are a couple more as well that are even harder, which we'll get to in a minute. But Susan and I have been turning toward, as part of our practice, gradually turn. This is not one of those things that you just turn on the light switch. Now I'm going to reflect on this every day or be aware. No, but gradually. I think as we get older, it kind of maybe happens a little bit more naturally, but still we have to invite it. But you've heard us say, when we wake up in the morning, and we do this every morning now. We woke up. We woke up, and then we look over, and there are two cats, and they woke up. And that's not like just check the box. Of course, we all woke up. Ha ha ha. No, we have a Zen friend who will say, yeah, it won't always be so. Zen has this way of putting things like just it won't always be so. Yeah. And so for us, first of all, it gets the day started it puts everything into perspective immediately, but it's also been part of this other thing that we do, but the two are tied together. And when I read about truthfulness, and we look into it a little bit more, it's very much connected with metta and compassion and patience. It's not just this check the box, tell the truth. It's about bringing the heart into the picture, And for us, becoming more aware of old age and sickness and death, and that we are of the nature to not transcend any of those things, which is the way the Buddha expressed it, by the way. We are not of the nature to have transcended any of those things. Yeah. As we start to move into that, the truthfulness of that, and just be aware of that more of the time, rather than, oh no, not me, it actually increases our sense of gratitude, our sense of the preciousness of each day. We're more in the habit, in the pattern now of saying, as these days go on, even days when we're doing a lot of work and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of shoulds, this is a good day. It's a good day. That sense of it's with that sense of enhancing that we are here. How incredible. And I'll often say, I'm so happy that I'm not sick. The things that I don't have wrong. We focus on that. Do we ever focus on that? I focus on it all the time. I don't have any arthritis at all, and I'll go, buddy, you are so blessed. You are so blessed. Yeah, well, it won't always be so. It may not be arthritis. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. We can do the best we can, but it's going to be something. But mixing it in with gratitude. The fourth one, I wanted to just cross that one off the list. When I would look at the list, I literally would do this. Sometimes I would look at these heavenly messengers, the existential unavoidables, and I would literally look at the first three, and I would put my hand over the fourth so I couldn't read it. Talk about trying to fool myself about it, but I wasn't ready to integrate it at all. This one, I still am not really ready to integrate. I'm being honest. I'm being truthful with you. It is, sooner or later, we will be separated from everything and everyone that is near and dear to us. Cut it out. I don't need to hear that. But maybe I do. I'm starting a pattern now. I'm going to make actually next month, I'm going to make a trip to my hometown to connect with a couple of the people, 3 of the people who've been important in my life a long time ago, and really had helped set me in a really positive direction. My first high school girlfriend, who's still out there in Northampton, and a couple other people. just to express my gratitude to them. You know, I thought about doing that a couple of years ago, and then I found out one of my early mentors, one of my first, one of the first people who taught me how to think, which I did not learn in school. I wanted to reach out to him and found out he died the year before. You know, we are going to be separated from those who are near and dear. If there's some business to, if there's something else in there for me, this is part of it. This is part of letting that truth in. As I'm going around, I'm going to go around to some people and just to have a before we completely fall apart. I don't want it to be every time at someone's deathbed or when I read their obituary. Yeah, because, and sometimes when I haven't seen anybody for a long time now, for quite a while, instead of saying, hey, how are you? I say, hey, we're both still here. We're both still here. Let's start from that point of view. Yeah, let's acknowledge that. And then now, how are you? What's going on? Yeah. So the truths that don't necessarily, but truths that actually can bring something positive, into our lives, right? The ones that we all, I think it's kind of a common humanity thing to want to turn away. At the Buddhist time, it was harder to turn away from some of these things, You had these people, being walked through the village, and they're going to be burnt, cremated and so forth. And the average lifespan was about 38 years old, and 50% of children born died at birth. 50%. Death, sickness of all kinds. There was no penicillin. Sickness of all kinds, early death, strife of all kinds. It was all around in India 2,600 years ago. It's still around in India, a lot more visibly. And, here we've erected a few more safeguards so that we don't have quite to look at these things quite as much. Death is still a failure in the medical profession, Sickness is still, we understand that. There's a natural, of course, we don't really want to let some of that stuff in, but it is part of the truth, isn't it? And it's part of truthfulness. It's part of our own self-honesty in regard to those truths that also pretty quickly is connected with metta and compassion. Oh my goodness, we're all in this. None of us made the rules about this, right? And we all have needs. We all want to be seen. We all want to be validated. We all want to feel that we're lovable. We all want to love. We all want to we need to be connected. We don't need, but we do need. We need each other. We're vulnerable. We're fragile, and we're not here forever. Yeah. The real core kind of truths in there that maybe if we turn toward them just a little bit more, it enhances our life. It makes it a little bit richer, a little less taken for granted, a little less casual. Like there really are no ordinary moments.